With the first 3 episodes of season 3 being out, and it's honestly being regarded as some of the best episodes we've seen in the show so far, a very important question has been asked. Who is in the right? Mark or Cecil? And I will come out and just say it, I think both of them are right in their own ways and both of them are wrong in their own ways. Cecil is very much in the belief that villains can reform and that we should not waste these villains and instead we should be reforming them. One very important thing that Cecil tells Mark is that Cecil just wants to save lives, so why not just extend him that same privilege? Cecil's been a man that has seen both viewpoints. He understands what Mark means and what Mark is saying, but because of everything he's gone through, Cecil understands why Mark should not be of this viewpoint. Cecil has gone under the rehabilitation, he's gone through those moments, he's even sacrificed his own body for the sake of saving the world. So if there is someone that truly understands the saying of we can be a good guy or we can be the guys that save the world, it is Cecil. And episode 3's opening genuinely beautifully, may I add, shows us that. It shows us that villains can reform and that in the end, they're just people as well. They're not just animals that just do what they want to do. They are humans first with hearts and they know what they're doing is wrong, but they can change. But that opposing ideology of Mark's also comes back in that scene with them also not being able to stay reformed for so long. Which just goes to show you that the show itself can't even decide who is right because it is also bouncing back and forth. It's showing you 1 second that in Cecil's point of view, these people can reform, but then it shows you Mark's point of can they truly reform? Because look at them now, they're villains again robbing a bank. But is Cecil maybe a tiny bit wrong for not trusting Mark? Cause are we talking about the same person here? Mark was the guy that literally opposed his father in a heartbeat after being told that his father wants to take over the world. I get that Mark is a very powerful individual that did this to a man, but let's not forget that he opposed his own father. But it also does raise an essential question of, is Mark being a bit hypocritical? Cause yes, he was forced to go to Thraxa and was forced to help his dad, and even though he has not forgiven his dad, he still believes that in the end his dad still has a good enough heart and knows what his dad should have done on Earth. And to further prove that Mark may be a bit hypocritical is that in the scene where Oliver gets his new suit, Mark tells Oliver that yeah, dad is becoming a better person, but no one's gonna forgive him anytime soon, showing that maybe Mark is not so much in the right if he believes his own dad has become a better person, but believes that Darkwing and Sinclair haven't. And I love how episode 3 further shows who is right and who's wrong in episode 2. I love the parallels of how Mark is in Cecil's shoes and how Oliver is in Mark's shoes. They're two people who have very opposing viewpoints, and that this episode shows you can be the good guy or you can be the guy that saves the world. And Oliver finally asking this question,
but do you ever think that maybe Dad was right?
Further makes you question that statement. Another way of looking at things is Cecil didn't trust Omni-Man since day 1. He said as long as he's saving the world, I don't give a damn about his motivations. Really showing you how set and firm Cecil is in his own beliefs compared to Mark. Where I stand with this viewpoint is I am in the belief that villains can reform. They truly can, and it helps emphasize this no-kill rule for Mark if the villains do reform. But it also does raise another question of can they truly reform though? And that's why I believe these two have truly ended up fighting. Truly showing you the two sides of the same coin. And with the way episode 3 ended, I don't think this will help it any much more. I believe Mark will instantly think that this was Cecil's doing and he will break into the GDA and try to attack Cecil, which will further make the question more interesting of who is Mark helping right now by just attacking this guy. But in the end, it's rarely a question of what type of person are you to decide who is right. I do wonder if the show will give us a definitive answer by Mark's action or Cecil's action by the finale of season 3, but if it doesn't, it depends on you as a person and what your beliefs are. Do you agree with Cecil? Because like, yeah, look at the world they live in. You have to go through these measures to make sure that the world stays safe. Or are you a kind of Mark person who is of the belief that, yeah, I stick very hard to my morals and I'm in the belief of villains are villains and that they should be punished for their actions? I love this conversation and I love the show for raising this conversation, unlike the comic. The comic made it very much one-sided, showing that Mark is very much in the right compared to Cecil, but in the show, they adapted in such an interesting way to where the episode has been almost out for a week now and the conversation is still being brought up. This video was never made in the intentions of giving you a definitive answer of who is right. This is more of trying to show you a more clearer version of both point of views and you coming to your own conclusion. Because I can't tell you who's right if the show itself can't fully decide who's right. All I can tell you that Mark and Cecil are going through two very similar things. Cecil going through his backstory and Mark going through what Cecil is talking about through Oliver. So once again, I ask the question of who is right. Some people may say Cecil's right, some people may say Mark is right. I am under the opinion of both of them are right and both of them are very much wrong. Cecil again is right for believing that people can change, but he is also very much wrong for taking things way too far and de-escalating the situation. Mark is right for believing that villains should be paid for their consequences. They shouldn't just go off with a leash and not be taken seriously, but he's also very wrong for not being able to understand another viewpoint. A viewpoint that he might painfully slowly find out through his own brother. This honestly just gets me excited to see the rest of the season, and episode 4 just looks fantastic from this little teaser they gave us. I'm very, very, very excited to talk about the show weekly, going more into this conversation, and by the time the finale comes out, maybe we get an answer and maybe we can definitively understand who was genuinely in the right. But I want to know your guys' opinions. Let me know who you guys think is in the right. Let me know why you guys think maybe both of them are just genuinely wrong. In general, let's just have a fun time with this conversation because it is just a great conversation. So yeah, let me know and I'm gonna go do something with my life.